Alrighty, so the Rising of the Shield Hero collab starts on Tuesday for Global, if you're unaware. It is currently day one of it being out on JP and KR, and so I've been watching extensive videos on the collab characters and everything because it's very interesting. New collab stuff is always really cool. And I'm sure that some of you may be excited, some of you may be skipping. I completely understand. I feel like as far as like my sort of fan, like I guess like community engagement has gone, it seems kind of 50-50 from like, you know, the people who are commenting and everything. Some people are not interested at all and want to skip. Some people are completely, you know, interested in it and want the new characters, of course. But I guess unless you're really wanting to build out like a new team or you're wanting to invest in the Merlin team, I don't know that the new characters are really going to help you too much, because the only character that I guess can help you in like PvE scenarios and stuff like that is already free, and she doesn't work for the, you know, the demonic beasts or anything like that. So I guess before we hop in too far, I do want to say we're almost at 11k subs, so if you want to subscribe or anything like that, feel free. But we're just going to go over some sort of, or like the normal kind of prep stuff that you should be doing before you know, obviously get into the collab. So that way, hopefully you have enough materials and everything for everybody, because collabs are a really big one. I was kind of hoping this one wasn't going to be a new collab because it's 4 brand new characters. Whereas if at least it was a rerun, because I own at least 1 copy of all of the collab characters so far, I would only have to get 2 characters. So that's a lot of materials to use on one update, like one banner, but obviously, you know, it is what it is. So I guess it goes without saying, the first couple of things that you would definitely want are Super Awakening coins. I think Super Awakening coins are going to end up being my biggest bottleneck. I don't think I'm going to have enough by the time the update comes out to get all 4 characters. So I think for me specifically, because I don't necessarily need Kizuna for anything specific, she's the PvE character if you're unaware, I'm probably not going to power her up completely, like all the way right out of the gate, because the PvP characters are a little bit more interesting. None of them are necessarily locked down to specifically PvP, which is good. You can use them in other game modes, so I definitely recommend, sort of, if you're going to summon and get those characters, you can build them up and use them in other stuff if you want to. So obviously, if you have any of the hourglasses or anything, I currently have 1. I'm waiting for half stamina to sort of, you know, go into effect on Sunday before I use it. But use any of your hourglasses that you need to get Super Awakening coins, of course, so that way you can, you know, super awaken all your characters. Other than that, they will give you and provide you with all of your materials that you need for the holy relics. You don't have to worry about those at all. You get those from boxes from the events and stuff like that in game whenever the collab comes out. I guess if you need you know, cosmetic upgrade materials, start doing a bunch of demons or whatever the case may be for that. I don't know that I'm going to invest into their SSR outfits or anything. I normally don't for characters like this, but I'll probably try to max out their UR cosmetics. You know, demon materials is obviously a huge one. You're going to want to get as many of these, you know, demon materials as you possibly can, so that way you can just go ahead and level 100 them if you can. But other than that, pendants may be a big bottleneck for a lot of players. I know that pendants have been really stretched thin ever since, you know, level 100 came out. I have started buying, I know this won't apply to free-to-play players, but I have started buying the weekly stamina, or weekly subscription bundle for stamina, because it actually comes with these dungeon keys in them, and I have noticed a pretty considerable increase in the amount of you know, pendants that I'm getting, so it's just over time. So if you need to, I guess if you're willing to spend money on the game, these are actually helping me quite a bit. Other than that, there are several different shops and stuff like that that have SSR pendants in them, so I don't think the Fight Festival shop has them at all. I could be wrong on that. No, it doesn't. But the Brawl shop, if you're at least in the Warrior tier, you can buy 3 of these before it resets. And the Knighthood shop also has SSR pendants somewhere in here. Yeah, I've already bought these for the week, but whenever that resets on Sunday, you need 900 coins to get all 3 of them. So definitely recommend you buy those if you can. And then other than that, I guess Just running just this Fort Solgris stuff whenever you get the chance for it, or any sort of exchange shops, or make sure you're doing any of the events and stuff like that that you can get, pendants from, because there are a pretty decent amount of pendants that you can get from just different, stuff like that. I think we could get some from this at some point. Could be wrong on that one. Yeah, it doesn't. Well, maybe they were under special, but I know that at least for the clear event you could get a couple of them. I think, yeah, you got one here, and then I think there was 2 more that you got from one of the other events. I think the Visel Fight Festival one gave you some of the pendants and everything. So I don't know, there's honestly, pendants are terrible in the game. I wish they would really up the rates on those, but there's not a whole lot you can do about that. Characters that you should probably be building up alongside your collab characters if you're interested, which I know on top of building the 4 collab characters, there are other characters you may end up needing for their teams. It seems like because the main character Nalfami and Raftalia are basically inseparable, you need those on a team together to form a mono blue team. You're really going to want to build up Blue Gil Thunder, because Blue Gil Thunder, if you're unaware, increases speed attribute allies defense by 60%, and the whole gimmick here is that Nalfami and Raftalia are defense related units, so that all of their attacks use the defense stat to actually calculate how much damage they're going to deal. So defense is essential. I would say this guy's basically non-negotiable. You are basically going to have him if you want to run the mono blue like Nalfami Raftalia team. Other than that, I would say I don't know too much about other characters that you're going to want to run. Obviously, in the PvP showcase that they did on the live stream, they used Goddess Liz. Not sure how well that's actually going to be or actually going to go. I don't think people are really going to want to use her as much, but I'm interested to see people maybe using Tarmiel, because he's also kind of a defense-related, character. He uses attack, but if you know his passive and everything uses defense, and I'm pretty sure, yeah, his ultimate scales off of defense as well. So he could be pretty good. Also, considering the fact that he has a stance, so he kind of works pretty well with Raftalia's Holy Relic, because I think Raftalia's Holy Relic is the one where if a teammate uses a stance, it increases damage dealt or something like that by like 40%, something really ridiculous. So he has a stance. Nalfami obviously has a stance, so using those 2 characters together because he's blue could work. I don't know. Obviously, there's a bunch of different options. I've seen people use Chandler already. Chandler seems pretty popular, and because he got a Holy Relic and his Holy Relic is really good, I think that's probably a pretty good option. But I'm sure people are probably going to be throwing any blue unit they can get their hands on the team just to kind of see what works. So obviously, as time goes on, you might end up needing to invest in a different character or whatever for the 3rd slot on the team. Philo, on the other hand, has or is going to be working with the brand new Festival Merlin, the Infinity Merlin. So the reason why she works so well here is because Philo is basically a character that gets increased damage depending on how many debuffs are on the character that she's attacking. So she not only has a weak point AoE skill, so you want them to be debuffed already, but her passive basically just increases the damage that she's going to deal up to, I think, 5 debuffs, if I'm not mistaken. So that's quite a few debuffs that you need to have on somebody, but running this Merlin also with Festival Gother are really good, because this card right here, I think, puts on 2 different debuffs in of itself, plus it's going to activate Merlin's passive and put on an extra one there. You use the Merlin Dissolve card to go ahead and put on 2 more debuffs, because the passive is going to proc and it's going to put on Dissolve, and you've got a really good amount of debuffs going on there, and then you can basically just attack with Philo, do whatever you need to do. As far as gear sets and everything goes, I'm going to try to make an actual separate video on how you should gear all 4 of the characters, but I guess as a rough sort of guess so far, I think I'm personally going to be building an attack crit set for Philo, because I don't really plan on using the Merlin team all that much, if I'm being honest. So using her in a scenario where she just does the most damage, I think is going to work a lot, because I might end up trying to mess around with her in some different sorts of PvP PvE scenarios. The biggest problem with that is a lot of the demonic beasts and stuff like that are immune to a lot of debuffs, so it might not be the greatest idea, but for PvE stuff, you don't need CC or anything like that. So I think attack crit's probably going to be the best because she deals just so much damage. You want to, you know, try to get as much one-shot potential, I guess, as possible. But of course, you could, I guess, run like an HP defense, maybe an HP crit damage set if you're just looking to try to get more CC out. But it seems like with the Nalfami Raftalia team, you're basically going to want to try to get as much defense as possible, kind of like the Bond team tries to go for as much HP as possible. So people, I think, are going to try to be using like defense food with it and stuff like that. I'm hoping that they continue with that trend, so that way CC food isn't necessarily as like sought after. Like everybody uses CC food in the meta right now, basically, except for Bond, or like I guess technically the Reinhardt team now. But yeah, hoping that they kind of continue with that trend. Maybe they'll make some characters that, you know, maybe you want as much attack as possible, or whatever the case may be. So, I don't know. It's very, very interesting with the meta at the moment. But other than that, I don't necessarily know exactly what Kizuna is going to want to use. I would assume it's probably attack crit, or maybe even attack defense if you want to go that route, because she has a pierce card and then a buff card. So the only thing that I've seen people use her on is OG Demon, and it's because she actually does not work. Her passive and her Holy Relic get restricted to where they don't work in PvP or Demonic Beast battles, which is super unfortunate. So the only other thing that I can tell you there is maybe attack crit, maybe attack defense, depending on what you're doing, because obviously CC is not necessarily as important there. But the main two characters, of course, Nalfami and Raftalia, are going to use triple defense sets, because they scale so hard off of defense. So I definitely recommend you just max out your HP on your 2 HP pieces, and then your defense needs to be as high as possible for those to deal as much damage as possible. I'm still kind of waiting and doing more research on on the rest of this before I make the top 2 pieces. Obviously, attack is not what you're going to want. These are just pieces that I already had on Gallon, so they're just kind of very crappily rolled on attack at the moment. But I would assume, at least for Raftalia, it seems like going maybe like full crit chance, or maybe half crit chance, half crit damage seems to be the better option. Or for Nalfami, I don't know. He only has one AoE card, and it seems like crits might not be the way to go for him. So, like I know that Nagato is doing pierce rate rolls, which is kind of odd to me, but I guess it makes sense that you would want to just kind of boost as much damage as possible instead of going for crits there. But I guess it just depends. I'm going to try to watch some more gameplay, see if other people are doing interesting things and how well it's working for them before I commit to anything on my defense pieces. But yeah, I do plan on re-rolling the attack pieces for at least Raftalia to, you know, half crit damage, half crit chance, I think. So yeah, no, making triple defense gear is not normal. So I wasn't sitting on, you know, the bracer and the ring, or the belt and the rune. I normally only go for the middle pieces as defense for me, so if you need to, definitely use these SSR or equipment tickets if you have them, or whatever you need to do there. So making, you know, those sets and everything, getting them go ahead and, or like prepared beforehand, so that way all you got to do is engrave them whenever you know, the characters drop, would be preferred, of course. But yeah, I don't know. It's a very weird collab because the characters use a little bit of a different stat than you're used to, of course. But it seems like the rest of it's pretty self-explanatory. I mean, there's no story for the new collab, if I'm not mistaken. There is an event boss and everything, and of course the collab characters are going to be stronger for that mode specifically. So I guess if you already have gear and stuff like that built up for them, they're probably going to be the characters you want to use for it. But yeah, I don't think that there's anything else. If you have anything that you're preparing for, maybe XP potions and stuff like that, because level 100 takes a lot of XP potions and stuff like that to get your characters actually built up, would be something good. If you need any of the red books, green books, or blue books, or anything like that, make sure that you're using half stamina this weekend on Fort Sulgris to, you know, actually grind some of this stuff out, other than just going for SSR penance and stuff. Gold is also a pretty decent one, because you're going to have to make 4 holy relics during the collab. So you know, that's 5 million a piece. If not, I think they might be discounted for collab heroes. I could be wrong on that. I know that if you make a holy relic for like an SR hero or an R hero, I think they're discounted. I'm not positive on that. I think they're still 5 mil, but you know, make sure you have a good amount of money, because building gear and stuff like that is always going to cost you a decent amount of gold on top of making the holy relic. So that's pretty much it. I don't have anything else to say. If you have anything that you're working on or prepping or anything like that in advance, let me know, so that way, you know, other people might, you know, want to do the same, or who knows, maybe I want to do the same. So if you have any suggestions or anything that you're doing to prepare, leave a comment. But that's pretty much it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Feel free to subscribe if you have not already, and I'll see you in the next one.